Everyone. This is Elizabeth with Future Problem Solving Program International, and I am going to talk about the fourth of 10 critical and creative thinking tools today. Okay, so last week, April talked about Scamper, a very effective creative thinking tool. And this week, I'm going to talk about a critical thinking tool called SML. Before we get to it, I just want to remind you about what critical thinking is versus creative thinking. So critical thinking is convergent thinking. You're focusing on the best ideas using, again, the principle of affirmative judgment, which is, to review, being thorough but positive, focusing on the best ideas, not criticizing bad ideas. Following a plan using focusing tools such as SML, or previously we talked about the evaluation matrix. Keep your eyes on the goal. You want to make sure that you keep your goal in mind because you need to make sure that the best idea you have actually will help you achieve your goal. And lastly, stay open to all ideas. You're looking for new and unusual possibilities at all times. You never know when that best idea is going to happen. So as I said, today we are talking about SML. This is a sequencing tool and it helps you really think through that best idea that you have. So sequencing is exactly what it sounds like. You pick your task and then you plan it out, thinking about short duration, medium duration, and long duration. So these are the tasks that you need to do in the short, medium, and long term to actually accomplish your solution, your task, your goal. It's all well and good to have a plan, but unless you actually detail it out and really think of all those steps that you need to take to get there, a lot of times we sort of fail before we begin. It's that idea of the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That short-term step will eventually get you to that long-term goal. So for our example, we're actually going to use something that I'm planning to do, which is building a flower garden in time for family to visit at the end of May. Now, right now, we are still in our pandemic quarantine, but we are hoping that by the end of May that we will be out of it so that family can actually come visit. Now here in Massachusetts, it's still pretty chilly. We actually had snow a couple of days ago and it's April 24th today. So getting snow a bit late this year, but it happens. So it's too cold to plant things outside. So makes a perfect weekend project to sort of plan and start a little garden inside. So let's develop that plan using our SML tool. Now, I was lucky enough to receive this gift. It's a little growing kit for tea. It actually grows lots of things you can make in your tea, like chamomile and lavender, which is what I will be talking about today. So in the short term, I have to pick a space, gather my materials, and plant my seeds. So I'm not going to take my computer into the kitchen, but I have a nice space in the kitchen. It gets lots of light. It's close to the faucet, so I can water plants easily. And it's nice and warm in there. So I gather my tools. I have my seed tray and the drip tray. This is just the lavender. There's about 6 kinds, but I have my lavender seeds. I have labels. And I have a nice little lid, I have all my labels in it, to keep it a little more moist inside where the seeds are growing. And I also have these little soil cubes, which are kind of cool. They dehydrated soil and they pop up and let you put one in each of these and you plant your seeds. So that is my first short-term thing. I've gathered my materials, I've picked my space, and now I have to go through and actually plant my seeds, put my soil cubes in each little container, and put the seeds in, water it, and give it some time. Now, this is not an instant thing, so I need to give it a week, maybe 2, before I actually see things. But in the meantime, I have to water seedlings as needed. If some really start to grow, I might need to put them in larger pots or containers. But I still don't want to put them outside because, like I said, it's still pretty cold. Today, I want to say it's only about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. In the long term, hopefully by the end of May, it'll be a little warmer. I want to transplant my seedlings out into my garden and have nice lavender and chamomile and these nice plants that I can have so my garden smells good and looks nice, but also, eventually I'd like to make tea with them. Now, relating this back to future problem solving, we actually use sequencing when we develop our action plan. So the action plan takes the top scoring solution idea, explains how it addresses our underlying problem, impacts our future scene, but where the SML really comes into play is that detailed description of the plan, the who, what, why, when, and how, particularly the when, and then the timelines and tasks for implementation. when writing a really thorough action plan, it's a good idea to lay out, your short-term steps, your medium-term steps, and your long-term steps to really show how you're going to grow and succeed that plan, how it's going to start small and get bigger, and why it's going to be successful. All right, thank you so much for watching. And please tune in next week for our next creative thinking tool. Have a great day.